Sarah Horowitz and introducing her as Mr. Bear.
Good morning. Members of the collegiate community, guests, parents, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a senior who in some circles is known as negative. So in honor of her perceived negativity, in this introduction I will sprinkle both negative sounding words and negative synonyms, but none of the antonyms. I'm already up to 6. First, I will say that Sarah Horowitz has a dissenting view on the opinions of her that call her a contrarian. 2 more. Get the idea? In an attempt to make a lighthearted quip or sass, she can come off as opposing, disaffirming, and in some cases even repugnant. But I know, and now you should not mistake, that Sarah has no intent to be antagonistic. In fact, she doesn't detest a witty banter and a dry wit that is often self-deprecating. Her motives are not dismissive, and her sass is a sign of the opposite of disdain. If she doesn't like you, she probably won't even bother with the sass. So the next time you hear Sarah speak in an adverse tone, or in some cases, an adverse tone, or in some cases about you, know that she is not truly against you. She is actually not your enemy, but the opposite of that. And with that said, it is now my job to ask for denied bad luck on her senior speech. Welcome, Sarah Horowitz.
Over winter break, my brother was in town. For those of you who are wondering, yes, I do mean the infamous Noah Horowitz. He generally gets what he wants, so he very kindly convinced my parents we should go on a ski trip. So between Christmas and New Year's, we headed to Snowshoe, West Virginia. I'm going to be honest and say I was less than thrilled about the trip, especially since I had been told about it at 4 in the afternoon the evening before we left. Also, my sister was bringing a friend, and my aunt plus 2 of her children were tagging along. Noah and I have been skiing for about 8 years, so we've gotten pretty good. However, he recently decided snowboarding would suit him much better. And without really trying it out first, he bought a board, shoes, and all the other necessary stuff. I just hope he likes it. At this point, I was still intending to ski, but I would be alone. My dad is afraid of the slopes, my mom likes my dad, my aunt likes to take pictures, my sister and her friend would be in ski school, and Noah and the cousins would be attempting to snowboard. And I would be a loner. Sounds fun, right? So as the great brother he is, Noah attempted to sympathize with me. He knew what it was like not wanting to go on family trips. He's thrown enough fits to get out of them. He even pushed a bookshelf in front of his door so he physically could not go. He generally gets the Child of the Year award. Noah convinced me to try snowboarding with him and my cousins. Logically, it would be better to try something new with my brother than ski alone. So the first morning of snowboarding, I put on a good face and went to the lesson. I learned how to hook my foot to the board, I learned how to stand on the board, and I learned how to slide down 5 feet of a bunny slope. Noah enjoyed watching me slide into our instructor because I never quite mastered the turning. So I completed the lesson and hit the slopes. Mistake. About 10 feet down, I knew it would be a painful ride. The first run would have taken me about 4 minutes to get down on the skis. I got down in probably a half hour. I literally rolled head over heels halfway down the slope, landed hard on my knees about 20 times, and had bruises to prove it for the next couple days. Thank God I was wearing a helmet because I fell multiple times flat on my back, slamming my head against the ground. I was just on the right path to becoming a pro snowboarder. After going down that one slope, it was time for lunch. Even though I had spent all morning falling, so had everyone else, and we had fun joking about it. When I finally decided to go down the real slope again, I got a reasonable distance and fell backwards. However, this time, my arm got caught under my back, and I hurt my wrist. You really need your wrist to get up. especially when you fell as much as I did. I finally decided I would not be snowboarding the next day. Instead, I would return to skis so I could get down the slope in one piece. I ended up not only hurting my knees and my wrists, but when I woke up the next morning, every muscle, and I mean every muscle in my body was sore. Sleeping on a rollaway bed didn't help. I thank Noah for that too. However, there was also a nagging in the back of my head. The same nagging that had stopped me from turning my snowboard in sooner than I did. If there's one thing I actually do hate, it's giving up. Once I've tried something, I'm stuck with it. I can't quit. I keep trying. If Noah could snowboard, why couldn't I? All day I watched him go down the slopes, falling less and less. I was wondering, if I had stuck with it, would I be that stable going down the slopes? The day before, I didn't think my knees or wrists could take another blow, but Noah had fallen a lot and he was doing just fine. All day I thought to myself, yesterday would not be the last time I ever snowboarded. I had to try it again. I had to get down the slope without falling. I couldn't let the snowboard conquer me. No way. Last year, I wasn't going to let junior year conquer me either, especially when I decided to take AP Physics. At some point sophomore year, I thought I could handle anything, until physics started, and I did not understand anything. I did poorly on the first test. I could not do the completion graded homework without the answer key. I rocked. I remember the last day you could drop a class and considered for a second dropping physics. No, I was not going to drop it. I couldn't try something and give up so soon. I kept with the class, and really, it was quite entertaining. The levels of sass were so high it was absurd, and surprisingly, it was not just for me. Every time negative charges and negative fields or negative anythings were mentioned, Mr. Ware would turn around and stare at me. One day, Will Bryant even went as far as to ask me why I was in physics, and I will not even start on Manoj. It may not sound like it, but I was having a great time in the class until I realized every night when I attempted to do the homework, it didn't matter how much I studied or how many problems Mr. Bear explained, I was still not doing well in physics. Thankfully, I managed to complete the year, and however crazy I sound, I will probably take another course of physics in college, although I don't know how college professors will handle SAS. I have to conquer physics somehow. Really, I would like to conquer everything I try. Some things are harder than others, but regardless, I will not give up without a fight. So if you were looking for me next month on the slopes of Paoli, I'll be the kid flat on my back in the middle of the slope, having a great time.